All right, what's going on, Yaki Gang? If you guys see my eyes sort of going back and forth, I have basically my iPhone on this side and my laptop on this side. I'm doing a joint simultaneous live, basically on Instagram Live on my phone and YouTube Live as well, because definitely I know the Yaki Gang community is sort of on both the Instagram and YouTube side of things. So thank you guys for joining. But yeah, if my eyes switch back and forth, I'm just looking at basically the questions on both sides. But everyone watching, whether you're on YouTube or Instagram, just write in the questions and I'm gonna try my best to scroll through and try to go through the questions. But if not, you guys, and hi everyone, you guys may have to basically repeat the questions, or maybe those in the audience, maybe just constantly just like write top questions so it gets sort of pinned on there and I'll be able to see it. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, both on YouTube and Instagram. I just wanted to do a quick update, especially on Instagram. I've done some YouTube live updates, but I have not done Instagram live updates on just what's going on, answering people's questions, whatnot. So I plan to be on here for basically the next hour. And so over the next hour, hopefully, if you guys have any questions that you guys have been stuck on relating to all sorts of yakitori, Binchotan grills, etc., we'll definitely go over those. I know you guys are already asking questions already, but hold on that. Just wanted to go over what we're going to go over today. So Q&A definitely will come throughout. I might do a few minutes where I might just save to the side just Q&A. That way I can focus on either of these questions and see. But if not, also I do wanted to just go over some of the, I have some notes here, just go over some things that I just wanted to update you guys on based on common questions that I have been receiving. And so some of the topics I wanted to talk about, a lot of people are asking about the Liveart grill updates and Binchotan, I think. And these all go in hand. So just wanted to start off by saying basically right now it's summer. Summer season is pretty much grilling season. So everyone that's out there grilling, whether it's hamburgers, hot dogs, we're all grilling. But I think if you guys are watching this, it's because you want to make yakitori at home. And I know for this past year, if you guys have been watching along, we've basically shown how you can make yakitori on the electric grill. So you guys know what the Livart grill, it looks something like this. This is how I learned how to do it. Basically, this is a Livart electric grill. I like it because it's pretty affordable depending on which ones you get. It's from $60 to $80 or so. It has these electric coils in. You plug it in and it's on and off. And you can use this indoors. It creates some smoke, but not enough. Just like cooking bacon at home, that amount of smoke. So it really made yakitori easy for me to learn. And which is why I recommend it for a lot of Yaki Gang to get this first. It's just so affordable, easy, on and off. Whereas the charcoal grill, I know you guys have been watching me do a lot more charcoal grilling these days. It definitely tastes better. But I want to say, just like learning how to drive, you kind of start from the slower cars and work your way up to a fast race car. The electric grill is a really good starter grill. So I know for the past year, a lot of people have been buying this, the Livart grill. Unfortunately, what happened was a lot of people, Yaki Gang, let's say using my code, pretty much kind of bought through all the stock, and Livart pretty much sold through everything around the holidays. I know at springtime they got a few more, but it keeps on selling out. So a lot of the questions people are asking is basically, hey, when is Livart coming back in stock? Well, what happened is basically because of the pandemic, there's a lot of importation, exportation issues, with a lot of shipments not coming into America, whether it's electronics. You guys probably hear about like chip shortages for cars, whatnot. Like electronics is one. Another issue we're having is Binchotan is definitely hard to get, and we'll definitely get into that as another topic. But because these grills are kind of harder to get, Livart has had to sort of look for other potential suppliers for the grill. So they have released some grills, or they're releasing soon, and I got them. They sent them to me to test, right? There's 3 different grills, and the whole question was, we're wondering if any of these can make yakitori. And as you guys can see, this one right here, it is a flat sort of, a griddle, what you can cook like pancakes on. This works for yeah, I guess making pancakes and whatnot. You can do Korean barbecue on something flat like this, but as you may know, with yakitori, what makes yakitori really juicy and fluffy is it's not heated directly. The meat's being heated sort of in the air. It's this infrared heating. You got this hot coil, and the heat rising up is cooking it. Whereas if you have something like this, it's cooking it basically pretty much like a cooking on a pan. And so they sent me this one. Obviously, this is a cooking on a pan. It wasn't gonna work. There's a few other ones, as you guys can see. And I can open these up, but just wanted to quickly go over. So this one right here for the Instagram. These ones, I want to show you. It's got a pan, and there are coils inside, but unfortunately, because it's this sort of pan situation, it's no different than cooking, like trying to cook yakitori on your skillet or frying pan, and it just doesn't work because it's basically the metal directly heating the meat. And that's the same case with this one too. Let's see if I can get it open. I had a little bit of high hopes for this one because it looked like it might be similar to the time delay means you can't watch on IG and YouTube, so disappointing. All right, so yeah, I guess if you guys are watching on IG and YouTube, you might have to split. But I'm gonna try my best to get these in the same shots. But as you guys can see, just a reminder, this is the coils here, and it's floating in the air. This we can do yakitori. But with this one, the coils are basically just directly touching this metal, and this metal directly touches your meat. So you can cook like steaks on this, you can grill chicken, but it's not really gonna work for yakitori. So just wanted to update you guys on that. I have been in chats with Liveart, and they're trying to see if they can still source basically this style of grill. As soon as I know, I'm gonna update you guys on that because I'm waiting for that because I still believe an electric grill is like the best way to get started. But in the meantime, if you're on Amazon, eBay, I guess any of those sort of like Chinese, like AliExpress, Alibaba type of sites, and you find a similar grill where there's this open coil layout right here, and that's gonna heat up whatever the meat, basically using infrared. It's a pretty simple design, so it should work for yakitori. But it's hard for me to buy those on Amazon and try to review it, mainly because I don't know if that one brand, on Amazon, maybe they have 20 of those grills on stock. I buy it, I review it, and it works pretty well, but it's sold out by the time the video comes out. So all I can say is if you guys find any in the meantime, until Liveart can come out with sort of an updated version of this grill, if you find something with this open coil design, definitely you can try that out. Take a moment and pause. Start with the YouTube questions. Yeah, like Liveart shipping to Canada. Right now they're US only. I have a question about the charcoal used in Japan. We'll talk about charcoal next. Anyone on Instagram here? If you have any sort of Liveart sort of questions, let me know. But I wanted to move on to sort of the next topic, which was sort of dealing with charcoals. And as we just talked about Liveart having its difficulty with basically getting container loads of whether it's grills. Right now, I've heard from Yaki Gang, basically people are contacting me saying, hey, where can I get Binchotan? Bincho Grill, the company that makes like the grill that I use, that they used to sell Binchotan, but they have sold out for like the past few weeks. And I know that a lot of restaurant distributors and smaller online shops, they cannot get Binchotan. And it's just the same thing. There's basically containers of Binchotan. It's actually stuck at port in Asia. They just can't export because there's not enough boats to bring them. So whatever Binchotan you guys can get a hand of here in the States. Hopefully you guys just stock them up. I was fortunate enough to just get sort of the last remaining boxes from some of my like distributors sort of resources that I had, but it is sort of tough. Saying that, so this is, I have one of my 2 boxes of these Binchotan. But saying that, it's also expensive in addition to can't find it. I've been trying to find what other charcoals people can use in the meantime. So one that people asked a lot, basically is like people have asked about some other alternatives. I think I did the review on YouTube on the tan, on the char blocks. I haven't done it yet, but I showed on YouTube at least this Prime 6 one. These are essentially Binchotan alternatives. They're compressed sawdust, basically briquettes, logs. I have had some requests about how about charcoal-based one. Coconut-based charcoal. So I just ordered this on Amazon. I'm gonna open it up. Just a quick comparison. What's the best Binchotan? That's the question I'm seeing on Instagram. The best Binchotan, if you can get your hands on it, it's gonna be Kishu Binchotan. So that's the Wakayama Prefecture of Kishu. That's the area of Japan. They make the best Binchotan in Japan. This is a made in Vietnam Binchotan. A box like this can range from basically $90 to $150. But for the same box, if I was to get a Kishu Binchotan version of this, it's gonna cost $300 or more to get it imported. So you just start seeing these price differences. But there's definitely quality differences that you can see. But I use the Vietnam one just because for me, this is what I can easily get. And I don't think I'm that good enough to really take advantage of the best Binchotan yet. Like I'm trying to build up my technique and skills first. Okay. All right. Save some of these questions on Instagram. Okay. Questions on the grills. All right. Sorry. I see your questions. I think I can talk about it later, like bulk them up. So let me go ahead and just do this quick unboxing of this is Blazing Cocoa coconut-based charcoal. So it came in a separate box as you saw, but it looks pretty beat up already. Let's see if with any of these charcoal logs, you want them to be as intact as possible because once they break down, they're not going to last as long when you light them up. Someone asked about Tokyo Central charcoal. Okay, I'll get it like that. All right, cool. All right, a lot of questions on the charcoals that I want to talk about next, but let's open up this Blazing Cocoa charcoal logs. Okay, so these are basically these hexagonal logs, similar shape, meaning it's the same mold that they use for the char blocks pretty much, and the Prime 6 charcoals that I have right here. In terms of density, it's very flaky. So my concern when something is flaky is it can burn pretty quickly. It won't have a sustained heat. Also could flare up easily. So it's going to be better than lump charcoal. It's going to be better than like Kingsford briquettes. But just keep in mind that depending on sort of the density, the flakiness, as you can see, it's just really getting all over my hands. And just whatever is in here. It is mostly carbonized, but there's still a lot of organic matter in here that can create sort of smells. But I can't say everything until I try it, so I'm definitely going to keep this in my to-try charcoal list. This was, I believe, around $20, maybe $25 for this 2 times 2 kilogram bags. And I would say, just based on what I know about these type of charcoals, maybe I will end up using quarter of this box per each yakitori session. So if this costed $25, basically around like $5 or so of charcoal that I'm going to use during each yakitori session. All right, and let's take a moment. Yeah, a lot of questions that I'm seeing both on Instagram and YouTube are relating to sort of what are the best Binchotans or what people's experiences of Binchotan. I'm gonna batch respond to it is whatever chart right now because there's a Binchotan shortage. I don't think a lot of us can be very picky about what charcoals we can use. So honestly, like, if you can only use these cocoa ones, prime stick, charbox, tan, like that's what we have, and just use that. If you somehow can get access to Binchotan, any of these, there's these Southeast Asian ones, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia. These are what I use, and they're not going to be the best of the best, but just how the reference to like cars, right? You can have different price range and speeds of cars, but if you're a good driver, you're gonna have fun in each one of them. So whatever you can do, use it. The technique and the chickens, those are gonna matter more to make good yakitori. Okay, all right, okay, just seeing Instagram questions. But in the difference between how much better is Vietnamese Binchotan versus, let's say, the Kishu Binchotan, the main difference we're gonna find is it's going to be the difference on, like, let's say how long it lasts. So if, let's say, Vietnamese Binchotan maybe only lasts 3 hours in the grill, whereas a Kishu Binchotan maybe lasts 4 to 5 hours in the grill, that's less time that you have to pause your dinner service. So if you're at a restaurant, it really matters where you have to pause that dinner service to reload more Binchotan. The other one is just consistency and predictability of how it burns. Let's say sorting out the boxes. If you get the Kishu one, a lot of the times the logs are going to be the same size, whereas maybe other country ones, you might have various sizes. All those variances makes it harder if you're like a high-end yakitori chef to really keep that heat level consistency. Same with the flare-ups and whatnot. When you have something that's really, really highly carbonized and really dense, like the Kishu one, they are just it's more predictable in the sense of less flare-ups and just the heat and the flame. So there's definitely quality differences you will be able to see in the right chef's hands. But I would say unless your job is basically cooking at a Michelin level yakitori restaurant every day for huge amount of customers, you're probably not going to need that best of the best charcoal. It's probably better to get your skill level up in other areas to make good yakitori at home. All right. Looking at some YouTube questions. I did see some questions about meeting in Instagram, and one I'm coming in here on YouTube. This is actually another common question that I'm getting about meeting, where on my tutorials I try to recommend, hey, try to use home meeting, one that has less additives, so no salt, no sugar added, mainly because that's just a more pure one. But if all you guys can get, whether through your local Asian grocery stores or maybe online, is some of the meeting type of condiments, that's totally okay. I'd start with that, because those are still going to be Japanese condiment, Japanese flavors. The only thing you'll need to adjust is if they have extra sugars or extra salt. When you make that final tare and you taste it, if it tastes a little too sweet to you, if it tastes a little too salty to you, you basically just add more soy sauce to get rid of the saltiness. If it tastes too sweet, then if it's too salty, then add more sugar to just balance it out. And I have my tutorial on YouTube on how to make tare, but that's basically just my ratio, my recipe. But every yakitori shop I go to, some of them are sweeter, some of them are saltier, some of them have maybe a little bit of hints of ginger, a little bit of hints of garlic. So keep that in mind, that you're gonna sort of find the tare, like use mine as sort of a baseline, but find the flavors that really matches you. And even the consistency of the tare can change depending on if you're cooking during hot summer times or if you're cooking during cold winter times. So depending on that, I'm also changing the amount of sugar I put into it to make it less thick or not too. So it's constantly adjusting. All right, question about a chimney, and I did see earlier about question about sort of starting a yakitori grill at on your own. So those are kind of similar. So I don't know any good resources on how to do DIY sort of setups for the grill setups. I've definitely seen people set up bricks and then set up these sort of mesh kind of tops on bricks. That can work. But if you're gonna seriously get into it, just probably start with the grill. It could even be a $20 like cheapy like Weber grill. I know DIY might seem cheaper, but then the problem with DIY is you have to take it apart and put it back together. And when something becomes a hassle to repeat, you don't have enough chance to keep on doing it, and then you never get good at it. Which is why going back, that's why I've always liked the electric grill, because you just turn it off. It's so easy to start grilling. So, but that's why going back, Weber grills and any grill you have, any barbecue grill you have, that's enough to really get you going with yakitori. As long as you're using sort of the techniques that I'm sharing, the skewering techniques, the chicken cutting techniques, the flavoring techniques, that's already one step closer to sort of the yakitori experience. And then from there, if you want to get something that's more dedicated for yakitori, you start moving on up. And that's what I always recommend. And that's why I'm basically an advocate for all different levels of grills, whether it's the electric ones or the charcoal ones. So moving on, I do want to talk about, give an update on recently. I went to the Binchotan Grill office, and then I got another grill, and I wanted to talk about this one. It's actually the same grill. I'm just kind of opening it up for the first time. By the way, I got this case, and I think they charge extra for this cover, but I like it because it packs in like this, and nothing really falls out if I put these mesh grills and the bars here. So just a little kind of plug on. I like this. I don't know how much more this costs, but if you have spare a few bucks, maybe worth getting it. It might actually come free, but if it's extra, I really like that case. And then here is a brand new one because I needed a second one. So I have been using this for almost since last, I think September is when I got this one. And you can kind of see it's grimy, but it's worked well. It's heavy duty, so I've been using it. But right now, I'm really trying to explore the ideas of starting to do possibly beyond making basic tutorials and content for you guys. I wanted to start doing some at least public pop-up events where I'm going to need more grilling space. So I wanted a second grill. So I asked them if I can get another grill, and here's what I got. And the main difference between this one and then the one that I've been using is now, since last year, this one is it's now made in the USA. All the metal fabrications, the wood, everything is completely in the USA. Whereas my previous one right here, this was made in China, but assembled in the US. So everything seems the same. The weight, everything seems the same. Obviously, it's shinier because it's new. My other one, it's basically just full of all these sort of Tare drippings. And I can, by the way, if I really want to, I can take stainless, steel wool and just scrub this. But I like it with this character. Yeah, the new one, I wanted to show you how it looks like shiny. Oh, they did upgrade it. There's like a laser etching right here. It says Binchotan Grill, so that's new. But this is something that changed recently. These new rods that they're selling as accessory items. This was the old one, and this is the newer one. It's going to be, I want to say the old one is maybe 10 millimeters, whereas the new one is probably like 15 millimeters, definitely bigger and heavier. And I've been using the bigger one, and it definitely helps stabilize. So, and these rods can be used on other grills. If you guys see my other videos, I've used these rods on top of, let's say, a cornrow, so the ceramic grill. I've used these rods, as well as on like a flip up foldable grill. So I was doing a sort of a, you can do anything, including like a Weber type of grill. I was using these rods. And the reason for using rods, for you guys don't know, is yakitori can be cooked at some yakitori shops. You might have seen yakitori being cooked directly on these sort of mesh grills. What happens is, it's very minuscule, but it makes a difference. When you taste it side by side, you can notice the weight of the meat of the skewer. It pushes into this grill, and by that weight pushing out, you're actually pushing out, as the meat cooks, it's sweating out precious chicken juices. Whereas if you were to cook it on a rod, and the yakitori basically balances on between these rods, the meat's floating in the air, kind of like a rotisserie, and there's no gravity squeezing out those juices out. So if you do a side-by-side yakitori that's cooked on these mesh tops versus the rods, there's a noticeable difference. But these are going to be much more easier. So if you go to most casual yakitori restaurants and you look in the, especially here in America, if you look in the kitchen area when they're grilling, it's usually going to be grilled on top of here. But if you go to like the higher end yakitori restaurants, in the case of the US, like if you go to Torishin, Torien, or Chikarashi, like in New York, they're going to be cooking on rods. And at all the best places in Japan, they're going to be cooking on rods because it floats and it's going to be a much more fluffier tasting yakitori. So, all right, break time as I look at questions. All right. Okay. I think I saw a question about building your own yakitori grill, and hopefully I answered that. You can do it, and I'm for it in the sense of like, hey, whatever gets you started on yakitori, go for it. But I also feel like you can also grill on any grill, so just start with whatever grill you have access to. Cool. Let's see, YouTube. And, I definitely apologize ahead of time for switching back and forth, but Yaki Gang is on both platforms. So I want to make sure I can answer all your questions. Let's see. So question about since we're talking about the rods, like what is the recommended length? The recommended length for these rods, I would just say just enough that it's going to hang over whatever your length of the grill is. These happen to be about 1 centimeter thickness. I think that's a good starting point. I've seen some that are maybe double of this. Those can start getting heavy. So anywhere between basically the centimeter to 2 centimeter will probably be good for the thickness of these. Okay, question about tare. We're going to switch it up. Do I use the same tare for all the different meats? No. Basically, I only dip chicken skewers into my tare, so that the only flavors that's in there is just going to be the chicken flavors, the juices. And the reason for that is, let's say I start doing seafood in it, or pork or beef, all those different fats have different flavors, and it's start going to be muddling. So I never mix it. If I was to cook something else, I'm going to basically take that top from my mother pot, put it in a small bowl, use a brush onto some of those skewers. And I definitely recommend that. And also yakitori shops in Japan, they usually will use different tare containers for different skewers. All right, questions about how to make chicken wing yakitori. That's on YouTube. Go check that out. Question about what is an ideal charcoal temperature to cook at, because Binchotan can get very hot, whereas the Livart electric grill is low. I would say the Livart electric grill is a little bit on the lower side, but I think that's actually ideal for most people starting out. And same thing with the Binchotan charcoal. I feel like it can't be too hot And even myself, basically, I'm constantly adjusting the heat within the Binchotan to just have some hot zones and sort of lower zones. And surprisingly, even though it seems hot, you want to cook it at a lower temperature only so that you can cook it through without basically burning the outside. Sometimes when it's too hot, you kind of char the outside. It gets really crunchy, crispy, dry on the outside. So there's a fine medium between the whole idea of like cooking something really, really hot, but also cooking something very low. You kind of want that middle ground where it's sort of hot enough that you have temperature the infrared heat that can penetrate into the meat, but it's really not about the temperature. It's really about what sort of type of the heat is. And that's why we go back to, we can't really make yakitori on something like, let's say, a flat plate like this, or cooking on a skillet, because this can get very hot and it's going to transfer all that direct heat onto the outside of the meat, but you don't get the infrared effects of doing it on basically the binchotan or charcoal, or some of the electric coils that give off the infrared heat, where it's basically can penetrate a few millimeters inside to the proteins, so you can cook the yakitori from the inside out, keeping it really locking in that juice inside. Totally off. Okay. All right. Some funny questions on Instagram Live. I'm gonna go back to YouTube for now. All right. So many different questions. Just gonna try to go on, or maybe answer these top 4 right here. Yeah, so open up the donate button. I'm not sure how to do that on YouTube yet, but I want to do that because, yeah, if you guys are up for donations, give me that ka-ching. It keeps me going. But you can always donate on my coffee site. The link is in my bio. Like, people have been donating me chickens. I definitely appreciate that. Someone on Instagram said if they donate 2 chickens for me, if I'm gonna be wearing this chicken costume that I showed on Instagram, hey, who knows? Maybe you guys can pay for basically some humor at your guys's or my expense. And then also my Amazon shop, just a reminder, you guys, I have my Amazon shop, amazon.com /shop/yakitori guide. Everything that I've shown today that I use, everything on my Amazon shop is something that I use. If you guys need to get more skewers, get more condiments, get grills, sometimes the grills do go back on stock on Amazon, or gas torches, cans, any of that, please go to my Amazon shop. Every purchase you make from those links, I get like 1 to 3% kickback. It's not much, but it adds up, and it really helps me, make purchases. Like, I was able to buy this $25 blazing cocoa charcoal, and I'm gonna test it and let you guys know if this $25 option is as good as basically a quarter of the charcoal. I think everything is about price balance, so it might work out. I'll have to test and let you guys know. Thoughts on the Yak Grill. So yeah, right here I have the Bincho grill, but the other grill that I use, Yak Grill, a little bit smaller. They're similar in a sense that they're sort of not Japan, but sort of US designed. Actually, Yak Grill's Canada, so I guess North America designed hibachi, open table, yakitori type of grills. The Yak Grill is a little bit smaller, so it's perfect for like when I want to take it to like balcony uses. But if I wanted to do something bigger, so I use both of them interchangeably. I do say that there's different price points. The Bincho grill, this costs 300 plus. The Yak grill is around 200. So if you're a smaller audience or just need it for you and someone else in your balcony, maybe up to 4 people, that's a great place to start. If you're looking for maybe doing restaurant use and stuff like that and have more money to spend, that's where like a larger Bincho grill or like the Kondo ceramic grill, all of that comes into play. But right now, so we talked about how Liveart, we're not getting any of these Liveart grills right now, importation issues. We talked about, Binchotan not coming in. Same thing with grills right now. Like the Japanese Kondo grills are impossible to get right now because they're just not shipping them quick enough because the containers are being basically held at port. So until then, basically, use whatever you can. And I'm trying to switch my tutorials, help you guys with showing, how can we make yakitori as good as the ones in Japan using what we can find right now here and in the States. So question about food safety while touching the skewers and cooked skewers. Yeah, some people get concerned because I have, maybe I might touch the chicken and touching the skewer. The reality is basically by the time I'm putting it on the grill, that heat, that's going to kill off anything on the skewer for me. Also, that skewer, usually when I'm storing it, it's being kept dry. A lot of different factors will go in that, I'm pretty confident. And this is how shops have been doing this for generations, where no one's not touching the skewer just because they touch chicken with their hands. It's usually, by the time there's also, remember, there's a lot of smoke in addition to the heat, like all of that, because each skewer takes about 10 minutes to cook. During that time, you can pretty much not have to worry about potential, contaminations on that skewer by the time that skewer is done cooking. Question about liquid shiokoji. So I do get questions, or I've seen things about marination a lot. So this is kind of interesting. So with yakitori, I did, in one of my breast videos, I showed a technique where I did brine my chicken breasts and chicken tenders in a kombu dashi solution. And that kind of helped add this extra umami, help break down that chicken tenders. But that was just like one thing that I showed. Traditionally, never really marinate yakitori meat. And therefore, I do see a lot of how to make yakitori blog posts or videos out there where, obviously they're not really a yakitori chef or anything. They're showing, okay, take that chicken thigh and marinate it overnight in teriyaki sauce, then cut it into chunks and skewer. That's completely wrong, because with yakitori, no one's marinating chicken thighs or whatnot in teriyaki sauce. There's no marination. You take chicken, you cut it, you skewer it, you grill it, and the simple flavors of salt and sake, that's usually good enough. And then for certain other skewers, depending on your preference, you dip it into that tare. And that's sort of, you get to really enjoy the flavors of the chicken. It's not masked by marination. Marination and brines, you can say it enhances, but it also masks a lot of the texture and the flavor. Brining, it's going to really alter that texture of the chicken. Chicken can be really good when it's sort of muscular, because you get that bite. But then if you start brining it, it starts getting soft. And there's a misunderstanding between soft versus juicy, or fatty versus. There's a lot of sort of misunderstandings that I'm hoping through my videos that I can show you guys, that even chicken on its own, no brining, no marinating, as long as you skewer it so that it cooks quickly with the right amount of heat, with just salt and just sake, it's going to be really good. So I hope that over the next course of a few years, if we can get rid of the teriyaki sauce marinated chicken thighs on skewers, because that's not what yakitori is. And so I'm going to be very, just adamant about that. And look, nothing wrong. They're helping getting the word yakitori out there, but I want to make sure Yaki Gang at least knows what real yakitori is, so we can get the real, authentic, give the love to the chicken without having to add extra marination. Yakitori food crawl, Katsusando. Let's do this. Katsusando is a shop in LA. I would say it's my favorite katsu, tonkatsu, basically, katsu, like fried, panko battered. They got chicken, they have pork, they have shrimp. But Katsusando in Chinatown. Thanks for showing up here. You guys are my favorite in LA. But yeah, I do want to do some Yaki Gang food crawls when it's safe to do so. In the past, I've done it in Chicago and New York and the Bay Area, and it's been fun. So I want to be able to do that again when we can again. Yeah, someone asked about the Liveart grill. Just scroll back. I will be reposting basically this on YouTube and IG Live. So I talk about as soon as I know more, I will let you guys know. But in the meantime, Livart has been working on other grills. They just don't really work for yakitori the way I want it to work for yakitori, because it's not designed for yakitori or basically grilling infrared. Yakitori ostrich, oysters the size of chicken breasts. So I've done yaki turkey, and the oysters are the size of basically like chicken eggs. So yeah, I can imagine ostrich oysters to be huge. Advice on cooking yakitori over campfire. It's, I guess, grilled chicken, but at that point, you're probably going to be cooking over fire. And then another thing to remind is with yakitori, you're not really cooking over fire. You're cooking over the heat that's emitted from the charcoal, or that's emitted from basically the electric coils inside of the electric grill. And also, if you have a gas grill, basically, you don't want those fires. And someone asked about Iwatani gas grill flare-ups. So I want to get into that. So when you cook on a gas grill, there's a flames, and on top of the flames, there's usually some sort of maybe a metal hood or maybe some ceramic topping or whatever. That's to help collect basically the flames and turn that into infrared heat, the kind of heat we want to help sort of radiate into the chicken meat. So, charcoal emits that, the electric coils emits that, and whatever metal or ceramic sort of top or grating that's on a gas grill, that's what we want to cook to make really fluffy, good yakitori with. And then the question about flare-ups that you're getting on the Iwatani gas grill, with any gas grill, because the main source of the heat, unlike the electric or the charcoal, it's going to be flames. It's the same thing with charcoal too. If you have too much oxygen and then too much fat drippings, and it doesn't turn into the smoke right away, and it has time to sort of flame up, it's going to always create flare up. And with the gas grill, like the Iwatani grill, because the main source of heat is fire, it's the flames, anytime you get chicken drippings, you get those flare ups. And flare ups are cool for that show, like, in commercials or maybe in some of my Instagram, where you see these fire, it looks cool. But usually flare ups, it's going to add basically the char, the soot, it's going to add a lot of negative. So you want some of that char flavor, but not when you're cooking something completely in that. You're just going to get very bitter, not juicy, it potentially even dried out. So that's another misunderstanding, that people think yakitori, it tastes good because it's being cooked in fire. It's actually, yakitori tastes good because it's being cooked infrared. So it's being cooked with this penetrated heat to make things juicy, but you get a little bit, maybe a kiss of the flame, but most of it is the smoke that comes from when the chicken fats drip onto the orange glowing charcoal, or the orange glowing the electric coils, or the orange glowing sort of ceramic top of maybe the gas. When that hits, it sizzles, it creates that white chicken vapor smoke. And that's that smoky flavor you're eating with yakitori, which is different from the smoky flavor of let's say barbecue chicken, where you're utilizing the wood smoke, whether it's like, the applewood, cherry, maple woods as they're burning, that creates smoke, but that's a woodsy smoke. Same with the campfire. It's going to create a campfire woodsy burnt taste, which that's not the flavor of yakitori. The flavor of yakitori is the smoke that comes from the chicken. And another, I guess, a misunderstanding is that Binchotan has really good smoke flavor. I think I may have used that word a few times, but Binchotan in itself has no flavor. It should be smokeless. When Binchotan's sitting in my grill, you guys might notice it's just not smoking. And it's only when you start cooking on it, the chicken fats drip and it creates a smoke. The reason why you have different grades of Binchotan is certain charcoals are better at creating more of that smoke versus some, they maybe absorb those vapor, the fats, and instead of creating it to smoke, it just kind of pulls up, maybe even flares up. So those are different grades of Binchotan right there. But Binchotan on its own, unlike, let's say cherrywood, maplewood, applewood smoke, it doesn't have smoke flavor on its own. All you're tasting is the chicken fats. All right, talked a lot. Let's, I'm gonna see. What is the most unorthodox yakitori grill I've used? If you scroll back on my Instagram post, July 4th weekend 2019, I did a wedding for a friend where we did a fire pit, and it was like a wedding venue where it's like sort of the chain. It goes down. It's a fire pit grill, and it goes up and down. And I had to cook for 150 people, happy hour, hors d'oeuvres, yakitori, 600 skewers in 1 hour. And so we laid it all out, sort of in rotation of cooking. And obviously I had to keep some being warm. But that was massive. And if you guys on Instagram, just scroll back to 2019 July, and you'll see this setup where I think at any given moment, there's probably 200 plus skewers on this flat chain held grill. What do you do turkey for Thanksgiving? Yep, I talked about that earlier. I've done yaki turkey for the past 2 Thanksgivings. And I would say a lot of us, we grow up eating turkey like for Thanksgiving and feel that it's really dry. That's because you're grilling the whole or roasting the whole turkey at once. And the same problem or same issue you have with chicken. Why some people, me including myself, we get that Costco rotisserie chicken. We like the legs, we like the wings, but oh, the breast is dry. Chicken breast is dry. That's the same issue that yakitori actually helps us solve. When you cook a whole chicken at one temperature, and you need to make sure everything is cooked. Let's say you cook the breast for 3 hours, it's gonna dry. Whereas with yakitori style, so whether it's chicken or turkey, if you can break it down into thigh skewers, breast skewers, wing skewers, turkey oyster skewers, when you break it into smaller bites, that you can then adjust how long the breast cooks. You can adjust how long the thigh cooks. By cooking it separately, you can make really juicy turkey breasts yakitori. So that's what's cool about yakitori, where you, instead of cooking rotisserie where the textures, everything starts homogenizing, the flavors end up being the same. By separating it out, you can ideally cook them to each of the ideal temperatures. So that's when some people say chicken is boring, I'm gonna say, well, you haven't had yakitori chicken. You know, don't just rely on rotisserie chicken or turkey. Or when people say chicken breast is dry, it's not dry. It just has less fats running through than the thigh, but someone's overcooking that chicken breast or the turkey breast. So break it up, cook it right. It doesn't have to be yakitori, but if you even breast on its own, if you cook it right, it's not going to be dry. Question about when the tare is used. A tare, basically, we just dip right at the end once or twice right before serving. So the skewer should already be maybe 95% just done. And then dip into the tare and back on the grill to sort of heat up the tare, caramelize it a bit. Maybe you can dip again, but basically 1 or 2 dips and serve to the customer. You do not dip the skewer at any time during the service because then you're introducing raw chicken into your tare pot. That's going to ruin your tare pot. But 2, same thing with going back to why we don't do marinated, like teriyaki marinated chicken thigh grilled. If you do that, you start getting burnt, really over caramelized outside because there's all those sugars in the tare or teriyaki sauce. So we don't dip until the very end because you want the chicken to cook perfectly. And then the sauce is just to cover at the end. It's not supposed to penetrate the meat. It's just that extra sort of flavor that you get on the top of all the, basically the chicken that's absorbed all the smoky flavors of yakitori. Cool. All right. Yeah. Thanks for all those Yaki Gang thumbs up on IG. Let's go back to YouTube right here. All right. So this is an interesting question. So yeah, someone who cannot grill at their apartments or condo HOA has rules against using charcoal or gas grill. So that's where the electric grills comes in. So if we can get the Livart grill, I'm eagerly waiting for them. Oh, I do have a question for everyone who's watching and heard about all my Livart grill conversations. If another type of grill comes out, because I've been trying to talk to them, because this is great to start, but I wanted extra features like temperature controls and maybe the ability, like even higher power. But as more features are added to this, the price point changes. So this one, it's basically in the $70 to $80 range. And I know a lot of Yakigang, especially using my discount code that I had back in the days, really bought these out. So I think that's a no-brainer, just like how air fryers and Instapots are all priced at maybe that sub $100 price. But if you guys in the comments on both Instagram and YouTube are like what are you willing to pay up for? So including the person who just asked about, can I have an indoor grill? Like, what is a price point that you're willing to pay for? Because you get what you pay for. So, if this is 80, like, would you be willing to pay 120, 150, 200 for a nice electric grill? And keep in mind that the charcoal grills, like this Bincho grill is 300, probably 350 with all the accessories, a Yak Grill, 220 or so. And then the cost of charcoal. So that adds up. What's great about electric, and if we can get even higher quality electric, is you can do them indoor with on and off switch. And another pain point that people don't know with starting out with charcoal, it takes a good 30 minutes to get this charcoal heated up for to grill on this. And that's just even start. I would say like it's not until maybe minute 45 after heating the Binchotan where the temperature stabilized to a level that I like for my ideal cooking. So it's not an on and off switch that a gas or electric grill can offer. But to answer that question about, so if you want to achieve a smoky flavor, the electric grill actually does achieve a little bit of smoky flavor. Every time the chicken drippings go on the coil, it creates smoke. But in addition to that, there's not too much you can do, unfortunately. Like since your HOA don't want you to have smoke, but you need that smoke to get the smoky flavor. But I'll be curious. Maybe there's someone out there that's designing potential liquid Binchotan smoke flavors or something. If you guys start playing around with that, like let me know. Yakigang Liveart collab. I would definitely want like a Liveart grill in my colors. I guess my colors are usually like the red and black, but for now, I just put on stickers. That works. So we're at 3:53 mark, guys. So I do want to take kind of last final questions. I want to get this sort of wrapped up by 4, and I'm gonna have more lives. Like on YouTube, I try to do lives at least once a month, and Instagram, I want to get back to you doing more lives. And then I'm totally okay on doing 2 different lives. Or if you guys are okay with it, if this wasn't that bad, I'll just do it all at once, and that way I can answer all the questions simultaneously. Okay. Ooh, someone talked about, maybe using a smoke gun, but I guess it depends on how do you get that smoke flavor? Because I think with smoke guns, they're burning some wood chips. So to achieve that yakitori smoke flavor, because it's not woodsy smoke, once again, it's that chicken vapor smoke. So if there's any way to collect those chicken vapors and bottle it up, then that might be something that can work. All right, Instagram. How is Okinawa yakitori different from mainland? I don't know too much about if Okinawa has a specific style for yakitori. I know that Okinawa does have different izakaya dishes from sort of the mainland izakaya items. I would say, though, generally I've seen a difference between, let's say, kind of like Tokyo style versus sort of southern, and I'm going to include maybe Osaka to be southern and Fukuoka, Hakata. The more southern you go, that's more the true izakaya scene. So it's going to have lots of interesting, interesting bites. Let's call it much more exotic cuts and things like that, much more rough. Whereas some of the Tokyo style, they really wanted to focus on refining sort of the cuts and skewers and flavors for sort of maybe the city, Tokyo being like a big metropolitan city, sort of that they were going more for that kind of Michelin level style of course yakitori is, you find a lot of that in Tokyo, whereas maybe the more south you go, it's more of the drinking eateries. So that's kind of, I would say, the high level difference between like maybe, mainland and sort of southern Japan style yakitori. But among yakitori, cook chefs fan, like all yakitori is really good. That's like saying, that's comparing the different barbecue styles in America. Like if you love barbecue, you're not going to argue if, Texas or Kentucky, like which is better. Like they're all different, but it's all gonna be good. Share that same love. So, question about, do I grill exclusive on Binchotan? No, whatever. I love grilling on Binchotan, but at home I'm usually just grilling on my electric grill indoors if I need something quick. I do have a gas grill as well. If I go to friends' houses, it's whatever they have. They might have an outdoor gas grill. They might have a charcoal outdoor grill with just Kingsford's briquettes. Like whatever I can use, I'm going to use. But there's going to be different levels of sort of precision. I don't know if that's the right word, but with each tool to use, you can make better and better yakitori. But I use what I can, and I really recommend for you guys, whatever you have access to, whether it's price point or just availability of what you have access to, start with that. Getting the good organic air chilled chicken, whole chicken, breaking that down, and your technique has much better results on better yakitori than any money spent on any equipment. So it's always about, going back to that race car driver analogy earlier, like it's the more lap times you have, you're going to be a faster driver than any fast, expensive car you can ever afford. And you might crash if that's your first time driving. So just basically work your way up. And the journey is really fun. I've been doing this for now 3.5 years, and just knowing how much I've improved every year, that's been fun. And that slower growth lets me improve better and better because I can see the differences. Same thing I'm not using the best charcoal. I'm still using Morin's kosher salt. Yakitori chefs in Japan are very dedicated to which different salts they're using. I'm sticking to just simple salt because I still feel like I have a whole lot more to learn before I can start playing around with different salts using. So, all right. Any last questions on Instagram Live? Throw it in there. I'm going to see the top 1 or 2 questions on Instagram Live. YouTube Live right here. Let's see. Cool. All right, doesn't see. Quick, I saw one pop up there. Do I use charcoal from Vietnam? So yeah, this one is Binchotan from Vietnam. And even in Japan, restaurants in Japan are using charcoal from China, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, unless it's like the top end Michelin star restaurants. Those are the only places that can afford to use Kishu or Tosa Binchotan. Those are like the higher end ones. Rabbits. No, I have not done rabbits. But yeah, I'm open to I'm curious about how other meats are grilled, yakitori style, basically skewers, small on Binchotan. So definitely more videos to come. I guess on my end too, since I don't see the questions coming in, always feel free to basically DM me with any questions or suggest. I love feedback. Hey, make your videos like this or do this for your videos. I love all the feedbacks. It helps me make better videos. I definitely want to say a lot of my earlier videos were telling me on YouTube, hey, these videos are very long. All right, so I made them shorter. But then I got, at the same time, people are like, I love how your videos are informative. So right now it's a balance of trying to make them short and concise through the power of like editing and different angles and stuff like that, and music and sound effects. But I also want to make them informative for you guys. I find myself that when I was first starting to make yakitori, there is blog posts out there, there's some videos out there, but no one got into enough depth for me to understand what's really happening. Like in a 3-minute video that talks about yakitori, you're not going to learn the intricacies of the whole chicken breakdown that I can share in a full 40-minute video. So it's that balance point. So I hope you guys do appreciate the longer videos as well as the shorter ones, because I know everyone's attention span is, it's going to be tight. So I just want to help you get in, but hopefully you guys get into yakitori enough that you can also sit through and watch those 40-minute videos. But I definitely appreciate all the feedback. And the people who tell me make my videos shorter on videos that I made a year ago, hey, watch my newer videos because they're shorter. That was like my first time I got a camera. That was my first time I got a laptop to edit and stuff. It's, I hopefully you guys have seen my improvement over the year on making these videos. Yakitori again, chicken soup. All right. Yeah, that's been on like high requests for people. I'm waiting to get that out. So that's going to be soon. That's pretty much, but I have another shime. Shime means closer. So yaki onigiri and chicken soup, those are shime closer dishes. But I got a ramen video coming out with Keizo Go Ramen. That's 95% done. So that should be the next video coming out on how to make ramen, chicken ramen, using the carcasses from the birds. Asking about flare-ups on the Binchotan. We can just talk more on DMs, but if not, if you have time, go back to all my different charcoal videos, right? Talk about how to stack charcoal, how to use a fan, air control, how to skewer things, how to move things around. There's not a single answer to how to avoid flare-ups. It's a combination of many things, and based on those combinations and I guess months or years of experience, you start applying them based on different charcoals, different chickens with different grills you're using. So that's that. And then YouTube. More questions about DIY grills. I don't have personal experience on DIY grills, but I do, if that's what you want to do and spend your efforts, whether it's time or money on it, definitely do so. So I want to encourage DIY grills, but I also want to make sure that to encourage you to, if you already have other grills like a Weber or something, like don't spend time making that DIY grill. Just use the Weber grill you have. If it's circular, all you have to do is lay down foil on the top and bottom to block the heat, and you create your own, basically a rectangular cooking surface, and that's a quick DIY grill using a Weber grill that you already have at home. So try that. All right, so it's past 4 o'clock. Yeah, I see more questions coming, but I'm gonna close this off because I can talk about yakitori and chicken forever. You guys know that, but I want to save it for the next time. But please feel free to DM me with questions. I love answering them. The only thing I ask is if I've made a video about it, and you can do a quick YouTube search on how to store Tare or something like that, just do that first, or else I won't have time to answer everyone's questions. So that I just ask you a favor. I spend a lot of time making these videos. Just do a quick search, look to see if I've answered it. Try it yourself, and if everything you tried, watching it and doing it yourself, and you're still stuck, let me know. I'm happy to help. I'm here. Obviously, my channel's growing. The more people hit me up, like the less time I have to answer questions. But I'm trying my best. And also, these questions will help me think of future video ideas. If a lot of people ask the same questions, I might say, hey, hold up. Let me make a video. I'll release it next week. So that helps me out. And lastly, guys, yeah, I do this because I'm here. My mission is to help spread yakitori to the world, awareness. And I will be opening up some pop-ups and whatnot soon, so keep in mind of those. That's basically one way where you can come and try out my food if you are not doing so already by recreating my recipes at home. That also helps fund my life and support doing what I'm doing here. But in the meantime, if you guys, if any of this was helpful to you guys, I do have a donation site. A lot of people talk about donating chickens. That's Ko-fi, ko-fi.com, Yakitori Guy. It's linked in my bios on my YouTube and Instagram. Go there. I accept chickens. It really helps me purchase a lot of these stuff. And I can continue making these videos. And Amazon shop, if you guys need supplies, go on the Amazon shop, buy from there. It costs you nothing more on your end, but every purchase is there. Since I'm an Amazon affiliate, I get that 1 to 3%. It's pennies, but the more you guys do it, it adds up. And I'm hoping that we can spread yakitori because I truly love this stuff. But basically, I love your guys' support of what I'm doing. So every time I get, I get new chickens and stuff, or get positive comments and feedback and messages and questions, it validates that I'm helping you guys out and making an impact on spreading what I love. So thank you guys so far for joining on this joint first time IG YouTube live. If it wasn't too bad, I might keep doing it this method. But if not, I might just do maybe sometimes YouTube only content and sometimes IG live related stuff too. But if you guys are on TikTok, go there too. I try to post a little bit different things here and there on different channels. So let me know. I'm here on all these different channels to basically reach more people, because this is my dream. I want to help spread yakitori and Yaki Gang. You guys are part of that. So thank you guys so much for today's live. And if nothing else, hit me up in the comments. I will repost these on IG Live and YouTube. And I'll see you guys later, Yaki Gang. All right. Bye.